What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of lukegtv, and I am Luke G. Today's video it's gonna be about the pros and cons of methadone and Suboxone. Now, I know I've already done a video on this. I did it roughly 9 months ago, but the difference in this video is we're gonna touch on the best ways I've found to detox off methadone and Suboxone. I will touch on some of the old concepts based in my old video just because it's been so long since I've done it. So in a sense, this is going to be kind of like a methadone versus Suboxone reloaded. So yeah, basically we're going to just start off with the pros and the cons. Start off with Suboxone. The pros of being on Suboxone, in my opinion. First of all, most Suboxone doctors will give you a month script at a time. So availability and convenience is always a huge one with Suboxone. Compared to methadone, where when you start off at the clinic, you have to go every day, Monday through Saturday. You get one take home. That's, the most obvious one. And yeah. Also, a second one with Suboxone is it's not a full agonist. So, technically it's really only covering half your opioid receptor. So it doesn't possess as many narcotic-like properties like methadone does. A lot of people, methadone has a pretty bad reputation, I should say, as far as every time I tell people I'm on methadone, they say, "Oh, dude, you must be just effed up all the time and drooling all over yourself." And the fact of the matter is I've been on opioids straight for 5 years. Actually, probably like 6, going on 6 years now. I've either been on A, heroin, B, Suboxone, or C, methadone. And literally the past 6 years, it's just been a shuffle. When I originally moved back from Florida, I was landscaping during the summer. And I was when I went to Florida, I got a long stretch without doing opioids for over a year. And so I had a very low tolerance. But when I came back to Minnesota and I was landscaping, I was dibble-dabbling opiates all summer. So basically my parents get sick of it. They give me an ultimatum, you got to go to treatment. So I go to treatment, I go to Fairview Riverside, they put me on Suboxone. Now, since my tolerance was so low on the Suboxone, I was getting a nice euphoric effect from it. So don't get it twisted. Suboxone will definitely, it's a mood-altering substance, just like methadone is. Do not get that twisted. But then again, methadone is more of a narcotic. Okay, one bad thing about Suboxone is the fact that they give you that 30-day script. For a lot of addicts, they can go around, they can sell their Suboxone, they can make money off of it, and they can use that towards their, heroin habit or their fentanyl habit. What ends up happening, and this has happened to me quite a bit, is you go through this Suboxone shuffle where you say, you're like, you know what? I can party for a week or go on a bender for a week, and I got that soft cushion to land on Suboxone. So it's kind of this week on, week off type of thing, And generally for the most part, most Suboxone doctors, even if you fail for a dirty, you have to fail a lot of dirties for them to kick you off of it. So, I've never even been close to being kicked off of it. So it was kind of just this cycle of just dope, Suboxone, dope, Suboxone. But after a while, depending on your milligram, when you're on 16 milligrams, and you try to stop and do some heroin, you're barely going to feel it because the buprenorphine is built up in your system. And guys, the buprenorphine is the main blocker. Yes, the naloxone does block heroin too, but it is 90% buprenorphine is the blocker. Well, once that builds up, it's going to be very hard for you to get high. Okay, so now we're going to go to methadone. One of the things I like about methadone, for me, it helps my cravings a lot more, and it's more of a consistent, it's hard to explain, but it's like the effect is more consistent. Yes, you do gain a tolerance to it. You may not feel it as much, but it helps my cravings consistently. With Suboxone, and this is just, remember, this is for me, and maybe it may be the way I metabolize the drug, but Suboxone has this thing where it's like, I get on it, and right around like, the 4 or 5 month mark, let's say I haven't used any opiates, the Suboxone starts not doing what it used to do. I start getting extremely bad depression. I don't know what that's from. Maybe it's just my body doesn't react well to Suboxone. I don't know what it is. But I like I said, I hit this 4 or 5 month mark and it stops working as well. And my cravings just start going through the roof. And what happens to me is I get this attitude of, well, okay, if I'm going to be on an opioid and feel like crap, like Suboxone, because it is a partial opioid, what's the point? I might as well do heroin, be on an opioid, and actually feel good and feel decent. And it's come to that point, you guys, so many times I can't even begin to tell you. So that's ultimately why I switched back onto methadone. But here's a con about methadone. Methadone has its bad side effects too. I get extreme constipation. I shouldn't say extreme constipation, but it's relative enough to where it does affect me negatively. And I gain a lot of weight on Suboxone or methadone. I'm like over 200 pounds, I'm about 200 pounds. And that's pretty heavy for me. Usually I'm a $170, $180. Methadone definitely really slows your metabolism down. And also another con of methadone, just having to go to that clinic every day. I know me and one of my subscribers, we talked about this the other day. She called me and she's from New Jersey. I can't think of your name right now, so I apologize if I can't remember that. But we were both talking about it, and it's like, you go to these methadone clinics, and a lot of them are in the inner city. They're in bad parts of town, and you'll just see this parking lot with sketchy cars, hand-to-hand transactions, old women who have benzos that are selling them in the parking lot, shady dudes like in the corner, like taking hits off like their crack pipe, people offering you drugs, people trying to sell you drugs, people trying to sell you their extra take-home bottles. And I've been to some sketchy clinics, man, where it's like, it's a traffic zone. I mean, this one place I went to, it's called STS Clinic in North Minneapolis. It was so busy. There was 2 methadone clinics like within 100 feet of each other, and there's train tracks in the middle. And this parking lot was just cars in and out, in and out. They had to have like 3 security guards just to watch over the place because it was so sketchy. So that definitely can be a hindrance, because it's like, even if you're trying to stay out of trouble, it's like, you have a bad day, and then you go to the clinic, and then that's trying to get you into some BS, and that's one of the things. So what I would suggest you guys is pick a good location, because the methadone clinic I go to now is in the suburbs. It seems like the client base at this place is a lot like, it doesn't have that sketchy energy like my old methadone clinic did. So I would definitely suggest looking into where you're going to your methadone clinic. So, one other thing I do like about the methadone clinic, here's a positive for methadone, is, it does suck that you got to go there every day. But like for me, I chose a place that's relatively close. My insurance pays for taxi rides there. So, I mean, it really is only a 20-minute ride there. 20 minutes there, about 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. And it, for me, it keeps me on a schedule. It keeps me moving. It keeps me accountable. My counselor there, she's really helpful. There's a lot of resources at my methadone clinic. And so for me, it's overall, for me, it's been a positive experience. Suboxone has helped in a lot of ways too. And I'm actually, as crazy as it sounds, I'm thinking about temporarily switching back onto Suboxone because I'm thinking about moving up north to be close to family. And it's just, for convenience sake, I'm going to have to probably temporarily get back on Suboxone. Eventually I'm going to try and get off the stuff. But yeah, it's methadone to me. Over all the years I've been on methadone 3 times. I've been on Suboxone, I don't even know how many times. Methadone is my choice just for the simple fact of the cravings factor. It really, really takes care of the cravings, and when I'm on the right dose, like I really do not need to do dope. My anxiety is not there, and my cravings are not there. So for me, it's methadone. A lot of people, Suboxone works better for them. But like I said, Suboxone does have its upsides. Don't get me wrong. Hence why I may be switching to Suboxone temporarily soon again. Now, as far as detoxing, this is where it gets tricky. Methadone, definitely better for detoxing. And a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me for that. But I'm going to tell you for a simple reason why. Okay, mathematically, it's just easier, and here's why. Let's say you're on 150 milligrams, or let's screw that. Let's say 100 just to make it simple. So, unlike Suboxone, the milligrams go by intervals of 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. But typically, actually, they really kind of just like it for you to be 8, 16, 20. So my point is, when you're detoxing, you can micromanage it way better because you can go down, let's say you want to go down 2 milligrams a month and you're on 100 milligrams. So then you go down 100, 98, 96, 94, 92, 90, et cetera, all the way down to 0. And if you do that over a slow, long period of time, you will feel some sorts of discomfort. But let's say you do 2 milligrams a month from 100 milligrams, I guarantee you will not feel withdrawals. You may feel a little bit of discomfort, but it's not going to be much. Now, Suboxone, like I said, because it's in those 2 milligram intervals, it's harder to do it. But the thing is, what I've done in the past is, let's say I'm on 16 milligrams. I'll go 16, 14. I'll start at 16 milligrams and I'll go down 2 milligrams. Go down 2 milligrams. My best suggestion actually would be in the beginning for Suboxone. So let's say you've been on Suboxone for a year and you're like, okay, I want to start tapering now. So my suggestion would be to go down 2 milligrams a month. So 16, 14, 12. And then once you hit 12, maybe do 2 milligrams every 2 months. You know what I mean? So 2 months go by, you go from 12 to 10. Another 2 months go by, you go from 10 to 8. And then, after that, go down 2 milligrams every 3 months. So 3 months go by, 8 milligrams to 6, and so on and so forth. And then you just keep delaying it the further you go. And then, like, let's say you start to feel a little uncomfortable, then you can put it on pause. Then whenever you're ready, you resume and go back, and so on and so forth. And that's really the best way to do it with both methadone and Suboxone. If you do it slowly over a long period of time, you know, when you're in the right place, like I said, you will feel very little withdrawals, 0 to few withdrawals. The con to that, what I've noticed though, is it's kind of like, you know, you do that, but you kind of get to this point, especially when you get to the lower milligrams, and this goes for Suboxone or methadone, where you're in this point where it's like, you're not withdrawing, but you just don't feel great. You kind of just feel real meh all the time. So then you're gonna stretch that meh feeling out for months and months and months. When if you do it faster, you kind of rip the Band-Aid off and you get that process going a little faster. Last time I was in Hennepin County Jail, they detoxed me off methadone, and I went down 3 milligrams a day. And, you know, did I feel some discomfort? Yeah. I was going through some withdrawals going down that fast, but they weren't horrible. I mean, I didn't honestly lose a lot of sleep. Like, I maybe, you know, I slept, it wasn't, let's put it this way, it wasn't torturous by any means. So my point is, it can be done. And if you want to just rip the Band-Aid off, you know, maybe just do it that way too, because for some people that's easier, and for a lot of ways it is for me. So, you know, I'm going to cross that stone when I get there, because I'm getting in the territory where I got to make a decision what to do here soon, because I'm going to be moving after school. So it's really just what you think you can tolerate, what's the safest. And, you know, the purpose of these drugs, you guys, is to keep you alive. So if you think it's going to risk your chance of relapsing and getting into some fentanyl, overdosing, and dying, then, you know, maybe hold it off for a little bit, because that's the most important part, is that you stay alive. So, I mean, that's pretty much it on, you know, my whole thing about Suboxone and methadone. Like I said, I've been on both of them several times. I've detoxed off both of them several times. And yeah, so I mean, and you know what? I forgot the thing about the Suboxone. So like I said, and then when you get down to like 1 milligram, you can start ripping those subs into tiny pieces, into 1 milligram to a 0.5 milligram to a 0.25 to a 0.125 to a 0.05. To, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you can rip them up into tiny, tiny, tiny pieces. So you can micromanage your dose with Suboxone too. It's just when a nurse is doing it and it's like an actual 1 milligram and you're not ripping it up, like, cause it's like, sometimes you don't get the pieces evenly. I guess if you cut it with a knife, you technically, yeah, they're even, but for me, it's a little easier on methadone. But like I said, you can do it with Suboxone too. You just rip the pieces really small, yada, yada, yada. You guys, and for me, exercise, drinking plenty of water, multivitamins, supplements, that stuff helps a lot too. So as you're going down, if you're just constantly, you know, working out, drinking, eating healthy, smoking cigarettes makes withdrawals way worse. Do not do any amphetamines, uppers, stimulants, cigarettes, none of that crap. That's going to make it way worse. So yeah, I just wanted to add that little note in at the end too. But yeah, guys, if you guys have any questions about withdrawals, detoxing, how to like safely use fentanyl, like what do I do in this situation? Like, because you guys, I would love for all of you guys to get sober, but I know the reality of life, because when I was 19, 20, when I was first doing heroin, no one could tell me nothing. So I'd rather give you guys good advice about using than expecting everyone's going to be sober when they're not. So give me a call. My number is 612-391-7365. My email is geraldluke@gmail.com. Those will be put in the description. Give me a call, email me anytime if you guys have any questions. I'm here to help. This is why I have the channel. I love doing it. So guess what, guys? This is lukegtv, and I'm out. Peace.